Alrighty, welcome back everyone to our Groundskeeper Chat series. I am your host, Meg Kruger. You may notice a little bit of a rasp in my voice today because we are back day 2 live from Palm Springs for our Groundskeeper Chat series on the trade show floor. Christopher Bell is joining me again.
Hello.
As my wonderful co-host. You're going to see, he gets in, he interjects, he just is asking questions constantly. He is just yip-yapping nonstop over there on the mic.
Usually after we stop recording, though.
Yes. And our first guest, our leadoff hitter for day 2, is the wonderful, do you go by doctor?
Not if I can help it.
Okay, perfect. So Chrissie Segars, not doctor.
Yes.
So Chrissie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And
bright and early.
Yes, we'll lead off. Well, 10 a.m. Well, I guess you are. This is your coast.
This is my time zone.
So this. You feel right at home here. But you spent some time in Texas before making your way out here.
I sure did. Yeah, I spent almost 4.5 years at Texas A&M in Dallas. I have to say, sometimes I do miss it.
Okay.
Because I think I miss the erratic weather and threat of your life.
Yes.
At certain points. Now I live on the West Coast in Bend, Oregon, and
it's too tranquil for you.
It's too calm. I mean, honestly, I'm like, I'm not going to sleep with any kind of threat of the house blowing away or, tornado. So it honestly is really different. There's like lack of insects are there.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah. There's like normal flies and ants, but there are no roaches.
Okay.
Like no fleas.
Sounds like my type of place.
It's an interesting place. And people ask me a lot. They're like, why did you move there again? Because you're turf grass scientist and like, where's the grass? You live in a desert? Well, there are a lot of golf courses around there. And you can just drive an hour west and be in the rainy part of Oregon. So,
okay. Yeah. Well, in Kelly Lynch, she was out in Oregon for a long time.
She lived in Bend. And I think I moved out there and she left.
Yeah,
so.
You guys missed each other.
Well, we were there for a couple of months, and so I got to meet her wife and hang out with them a couple of times. She did not let me know when she was leaving. I could have bought her skis and her mountain bike, but she sold them out from under me.
Well, maybe she is holding on to them with the hopes of returning one day.
No, she sold them.
So when you were in Texas, you were one of our first Groundskeeper Chat guests. There are like 6 or 7 of you that I think I recorded like all in that second week of COVID. And it was like, well, what do I do with these things now? The first intention was to literally just talk with you and then like write a blog post based off of those videos and, post them. And it was like, oh, well, I recorded these. I might as well just like post them on YouTube or something. And this wonderful idea was born.
That video is still on there.
Yes, it is. You said that you've gone back.
Look it up.
You said you've gone back and listened to it and been like, wow, I really prepared for that.
I was so nervous because the topic was trying to figure out how you could take care of your athletic fields during COVID when like maybe one staff member could come in for 30 minutes, I don't know, or the gate was locked. You had to actually jump over the gate to manage your grass. So I really did prepare because I was like, I don't want to tell these people something that's wrong. And this is the first time I think I've been asked to be on a podcast. So yeah, I did prepare.
I love that.
I think it went okay.
It went great. And you'll always be one of those like first advocates in my mind is like somebody who said yes, who was willing to help this, idea come to life. So I appreciate that. 5 years ago now.
I know. Time is insane.
It is crazy. And you had a brand new puppy during that time.
I did.
You're like, sorry?
I just adopted my dog, and I was like, she might bark. I don't know. She's a wild card. She's running around the house.
And did the dog make the cross-country move as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't leave it behind.
Oh, no. Never. I try to bring her to as many conferences as possible, but I flew to this one, so left her at home. But yeah, she's a household name.
And did you make it out on your hike?
I did.
You did?
I went on Tuesday.
Okay, so when I didn't make it into town on Tuesday, but Chrissie and I had wonderful plans to go hike the canyon and see a waterfall of sorts.
So we went Tuesday morning. It opens at 7:30. You actually have to pay $15 to go, so maybe you did miss out. Paid $15. They make you check. They have to check your amount of water that you have because maybe they've had some heat-related injuries. Although it was like 40.
Oh my gosh, I've never experienced that.
No, there was a sign that usually it's 32 ounces, but they had marked it out and put 16 ounces. And we had to show them the bottle of water before they would let us go on the hike, or we had to buy one. And it was
my goodness.
It was like 40 degrees.
Did you take the tram?
That was not the tram. This was
Okay.
the Taquis Canyon.
Okay.
Actually, you could walk to the canyon from here. It's like 30 minutes, and then you do the canyon. But yeah, you had to prove you had the right amount of water to go in,
that
which I think
is-
is probably a good
I
practice.
mean,
Great,
it's
yeah.
brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
I've only run into that one other time, and it was when my husband and I were planning to backpack into Zion and stay overnight for a few nights. And they did the same thing where they, in order to get your permit, they were like, we need to see that you have this amount of water. And we did not have the right amount of water, but we had literally just flown cross country to go back. And because we just had like our backpacks and then we had the camel back situation. And so my husband, being the genius that he is, he was like, well, let's just wait till we see the shift change. And then I will just go
Run
up.
through.
He's like, I will just go up myself and have both camelbacks. And I followed him blindly into that situation.
This is why these regulations have come about.
Yes, literally. And it was a rough go. Like we were, you're worried the whole time. Like, I'm not going to have enough water. And there's no water once you get in,
So Zion is one of my favorite national parks.
Okay.
So which trails did
We
you love?
did, oh man, so we did the Narrows just as like a pedestrian experience.
I
Like,
love that trail.
We went along, the paved path.
Oh, you went the pave?
For the Narrows.
Okay.
Because we went, this would have been in May. So it was way too dangerous to go into the water. And I will say, like, I was amazed. There were full-blown social media influencers out on that paved path, like literally doing photo shoots, like holding up the whole thing. I was like, what is the national park
What a time
coming
to be alive.
But then the one that we backpacked into, I think, was the Overlook Trail.
Okay.
And it's like 10 miles long. And we did, like, the first day we did like 5 miles and set up camp or whatever. This was before we had kids. And what was really cool is after we had both of our kids, we went on like the last week of my maternity leave. And we took them back to that trail and we stayed in the park and we didn't sleep over this time. But it was just so cool to like have that full, experience. But I will say my favorite place in Utah is Sand Hollow.
Okay, I don't think
It's like not a national park, but like a state park.
Okay.
And it's always like completely empty and it's got better waterfalls, better like rivers in the canyon.
And I bet dogs are allowed.
Yes, I will show you photos after. Like it is by far my favorite part of Utah. Well, and I really like Provo, Utah as well. The mountains of that part. Maybe not the culture out there, but definitely, the landscape is appealing to me. My husband's like, we could do it. And I'm like, sure, if you want to.
Yeah. So when I got this new role, it's covered in
and
the
tell
West.
us, what is the new role?
So I work for PBI Gordon. I'm their Western Research and Development Scientist. We have 4 scientists spread out across the U.S., and I cover everything west of the Rockies. So I'm responsible for, developing protocols with our new experimental products, taking data, fixing the data reports, talking to the cooperators, all that stuff. But my primary goal is to help develop our non-traditional chemistries.
Okay.
Which we don't have any
Yep.
right now. So it's tough, though, because there are so many different non-traditional. When I say non-traditional, it could be biological control. It could be biostimulant. It could be, anything organic that you would think about.
Okay.
So it's really tough in that world because the economics are not always there.
Yeah.
Especially in turf. We're a little smaller acreage than big ag. So it's going to cost more to buy those products. It's just a big world out there. There's a lot of different companies and it's tough to weed through the weeds.
Yep.
Find what really works. And so I never thought about this side of the industry when I was in academia.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's really cool. But when I got the job, they said live anywhere west of the Rockies near an airport.
Okay.
So I almost lived in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
Because the airport is so nice.
Yep.
And it's kind of central and you can get anywhere. But I chose one of the smallest airports.
Nice. The most inconvenient. Always probably a layover.
Yeah, most inconvenient. 1 to 2 layovers. So.
Oh, jeez. Well, Well, I think you're in a good spot for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, totally.
And in my mind, you are like one of those OG women in turf.
Oh,
Like when I think of somebody that really like the photos from you during your time, like as a student, as a graduate, as a PhD, you're the one in among the many men. Like there, you could always pick out where Chrissy was. And I think that, you know, you've had a very unique experience in the turf industry. And like you said, you were on the academia side for a while. What really gave you the confidence or the courage to maybe switch it up and come to this side?
Well, like you said, I've been in academia pretty much my whole career. And I kind of was like, well, I like it, but I want to learn everything I can about the industry.
Yeah.
So it's really seeing different sides, because once I've came into this, I was like, wait a minute, the EPA really, wait, you have to do all of these things, and it really takes a lot of time, a lot of money for you to see something like Speed Zone
Yeah.
on the shelf. So to give you a little background, when we first get an active ingredient from maybe a supplier or however we get that, we have to spend millions of dollars. And so then we have to think, you know, it's a for-profit business.
Yeah. What's the
When
ROI
are we
on that?
getting
Yeah.
that back?
Yeah.
And how long is it going to take us? So it's not only the field studies we have to do, it's the laboratory practice studies. How is it
Yeah.
going to react in the soil? What's it going to do in the water? Is it going to harm any animals? All of those good laboratory practice studies. So a lot of great products have been unable to get to the shelf because of either just time,
Yeah.
transfer price,
Yeah.
like all of these things I never thought about before. So I think it really just has broadened my horizon. And I still get to do some academic things. I still get to do extension talks. I still
Yep.
get to teach about pesticide education. So I think it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to call it the dark side. It's fine.
Yeah.
I like the dark.
Yeah.
So, it really is kind of the best of both worlds, because I'm given a budget now, and I'm
Yeah.
not having to scrape by and try to get all the grants
And get really creative.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's neat.
And
And
yeah.
I can still come to these conferences.
I was
and
going to ask, yeah, if
still-
this is,
yeah,
you know, something that you look forward to every year to, you know, be reunited with all the
Oh,
folks.
yeah. And like you were saying earlier, the women in turf has only grown. I know we're still such a small percent, but it's just so refreshing to see, like, there are events and there are younger women who want to be in this industry. We need more. So
Yeah.
how do we find them? We
Yeah.
need to come up with some more ideas on how to get them. Not only women, we need students and
Yep,
younger people in
definitely
this
that
industry.
whole next gen.
Yeah.
And I you also got to dabble a little bit in the actual sports field practices. I'm sure throughout your experience, but in my frame of reference at the Little League Softball World Series, and I think I can't remember. What did they assign you? Grunt work? Is that what it was?
I asked
that was
for that.
what was
I
next
was
to
like,
your
I don't
name.
want to do anything important because I really don't know what I'm doing.
You were just like, please. and that's so funny. Like someone who's been ingrained in it for so long, and you're like, yeah, no, not.
Well, you know, like, so my only claim to fame of actually working on a grounds crew was working at LSU one summer after I graduated with some rogue master's degree I have. I was like, what am I going to do? I really want to work on the grounds crew. And I tried it for a summer, absolutely loved it. And that's what honestly made me move forward to go to Oklahoma State to get another master's and PhD, because I loved it so much. And so that was my, you know, we maintain research plots, but it's not the same as having to perfection, do the lines right,
Players
get the
have
edges.
on there,
Yeah, safety reasons. So whenever I got the opportunity to do the Little League, I was like, I really want to go, but honestly, I'm terrified. But then I was like, I'm going with women who are incredible. They're not going to treat me badly. They're not going to make fun of me. And if they do, I'll probably be laughing as well. Like, that's okay. So when I first got there, I was like, I don't want to do anything. I'll just hand someone a shovel or like rake some area. But eventually I was dragging the field and, you know, painting some lines. And so it is an opportunity for someone who is nervous to really increase their character. and say, well, everybody's got to start somewhere. Everybody's got to learn. So
Exactly.
it really is a great experience.
It is, and I loved this past year. They had a good amount of students volunteer this year, and I've seen them walking the trade show floor. And they're not from the same school, so how cool that is that they were able to like meet up here and formulate their own little cohort.
They know
and
each other.
It's so cool.
So I don't know if I'll ever volunteer again because it's really a timing thing.
Yep.
I would love to, but I don't want to take that experience away from someone else, of course. But my legacy of the Little League World
Can I
Series-
guess?
Yes.
Is it when you were like trying to touch the net on the basketball?
That's a good one too. I did make it.
Then there was a Post-it note situation.
So that story is that the fire alarm or
Yes.
the what's it called? The
Fire detector.
Fire detector.
Yes.
It was right above my bed and it was so bright. It kept like blinking this light all night. I was like, I feel like I'm in an alien abduction
A UFO.
thing. So I finally got some tape. Somehow I had some tape, like painter's tape, and I jumped up and got it on the fire detector.
That's what
That was a joke.
and that is what prompted you to do the basketball net. You wanted to show.
Yes. I was like, I see how
got
high I can
hops.
jump. But my real lasting legacy is the first time we were pulling the rain tarp for like a practice pull.
Yeah.
I got stuck on the rain tarp,
Oh,
and there's a
no.
video of me surfing along the field.
That's
And
amazing.
one of the other girls that was there, Jake, she was like, "Get off the tarp! What are you doing?" I was like, "I cannot get off the tarp. This is where I am at
I
this
have no
moment."
control.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know what happened. I think I just got like left behind a half step.
Oh my
and
goodness.
all of a sudden I was on top of the tarp.
Dude,
and I
that's
was
terrifying.
like, "Oh my God." So I'm honestly glad that I didn't do last year because it rained
The whole time.
They had to pull the tarp many times. And I'm like, I probably would have been under the tarp.
Yep.
So I'm glad that I was
100%.
Get yourself on ESPN.
Yeah, seriously. I was going to say that's one of those, like, you can count on it. If a grounds crew member gets taken away
Yeah.
by a tarp, it's going to be on ESPN.
Totally.
And it's like, that's the only good coverage we're getting sometimes.
Oh my God.
Like,
After that, I was like, maybe I should try surfing because I stayed up the whole time and I had pretty good balance.
You got hops, you got balance. I mean,
Exactly.
Look at
I
you.
should
Like an
be a
elite athlete.
professional athlete.
yeah, you missed your calling. You need to go back. That's amazing.
Oh,
So tell us a little bit about your session, the fun fundamentals,
Sure.
correct?
Yeah, so I was kind of thinking, one of the things I used to love to educate on when I was at Texas A&M is how important but also simple it can be to test your athletic fields for safety.
Yep.
And what kind of tools do you need to do that? Like, there's so many different tools out there,
I know.
fancy tools that are so expensive, but let's break it down to the basics and saying, if you're just starting out, if you don't have a big budget, if you just kind of want to see what's going on, these are the tools that you need. And so I was able to team up with Kylie Dixon
Okay.
from University of Tennessee. I did the natural grass side and he did the synthetic side.
Okay, yes.
So yeah, it was just kind of a cool session, a reminder
Yeah.
of, even if you've tested fields your whole life, it's still nice to hear, are there any updates on regulations or certifications? And
Yep.
well, there's not. So
Yep. Yep.
it's still the same and we're still kind of where we are. And I think it's important that we, as an industry, there's so many different divisions, NFL, NCAA, FIFA, MLS.
Yep.
We need to start getting a cohesive, at least idea of where we can go with field safety.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of all doing our own thing
Yep.
right now, which is not, we're at least doing something.
Yep.
But yeah, it was a cool session, pre-conference education, just to, I think, get people in the swing of going.
Definitely.
There was snacks and beer. And
I love it.
Yeah, it
Heck
was
yeah.
good.
I've never heard of anyone doing that. That's the
Yep.
real poll.
It was sponsored by DLF.
Okay.
And, I think last year, this is kind of a new thing. So they
Okay.
started having a half day of education prior to the actual conference starting.
Okay,
So,
very cool.
yeah.
Well, and I think with just FIFA and the World Cup, like safety has become such a huge topic of conversation. I think you're right, is that it's like, where is that blueprint that somebody that's, out there maybe doing it on their own, or there's no boss or regulations telling them to do it. So it's like, where do they even start? Where do they prioritize? And I hope that that's something that comes out of, the World Cup, is that maybe everyone can have some form of blueprint, starting point, where it's like, okay, maybe it's not going to be a World Cup tested field,
right?
But if I could make my, playing surface a little bit more, fluid and wonderful.
And at least I know a baseline.
Yes, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's all really important.
Well, wonderful. Any questions you might have, Chris? I teased that he was going to be a chatterbox over
He
there.
said nothing the whole time.
I know.
I have absolutely nothing to add to this conversation.
It was just so good.
Typical. Well, Chrissy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And you're welcome back anytime. You're an OG. Women in Turf,
I'm available
Groundskeeper
anytime you need to
Chat.
fill a slot.
I love it. Well, yeah, you're one of my favorites, so you're welcome back anytime.
Well, you and your husband and the kids can come out to Oregon, and we'll go back.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
You're welcome anytime.
My boss knows. Like, if the invitation is there, I'll make it happen.
She'll be there next Tuesday.
Anytime. If you like snow, come now.
Well, and I will say my son wants a dog so badly. Every single day he asks me for a dog. I'm not kidding. Like, we go to Costco and there's a PetSmart right next to it. And he's like, could we just please look? Could we just go?
Please.
And I'm
Don't
like,
look, because you'll leave with them.
And I have like a weird thing for animals. And it's not necessarily
It's
a
hatred.
Yeah.
You're so...
I'm very scared of them. They just really scare me.
Yeah.
And so I really do avoid going to people's homes that have animals, because my son will just get that much more obsessed with the idea.
He will love Winnie, so don't come.
Yeah.
You can stay at a hotel.
Yeah. He would be like, you would not believe he would somehow like kidnap the dog, and it would be
She
coming
would go home with you willingly, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know what that says about my parenting or yours.
I'm not sure. She's very social.
I won't give my son what he wants, and your dog's just willing to leave.
See ya.
Well, thank you so
Cool.
much.
Thank you so much.